Lake Placid has a lot going for it. A beautiful lake, a pointy mountain that's one of the region's biggest ski areas. It's a tourist mecca. Top that off with the luck of history, an unforgettable Olympic moment that fascinates generation after generation. Lake Placid keeps adding on to the Miracle on Ice legacy, now with a new statue of the USA hockey team's coach, Herb Brooks. That's today's story of the day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from Pearsall Wealth Management at UBS Wealth Management USA, subsidiary UBS AG, member FINRA SIPC, 1 Broad Street, Glens Falls.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Thursday, February 5th. First up, a man from Atlanta, Georgia, died while skiing at Whiteface Mountain yesterday. According to state police, friends reported 44-year-old Michael Vasic missing around 10 a.m. Whiteface Mountain Ski Patrol found Vasic in the tree line along the upper-lower Skyward Trail. He was taken to a medical building where local fire and rescue departments attempted life-saving measures, but they were unsuccessful. Vasic was pronounced dead on the scene. His body was taken to Glens Falls Hospital for an autopsy tomorrow. An investigation is ongoing. Governor Kathy Hochul is tapping former New York City Council Speaker Adrienne Adams as her running mate. The New York Public News Network's Jimmy Vielkind reports.
The Democratic governor says Adams will be a strong voice, helping her stand up to President Trump. Hochul's re-election campaign announced the ticket on the eve of the Democratic convention in Syracuse. Both women are moderates. Hochul is a white woman from Buffalo, and Adams is a black woman from Southeast Queens. Columbia professor Basil Smikle says Adams helps balance the ticket.
What any governor would want, someone who's really out, could be out there and shore up her base and expand her base while she's actually doing the job of being governor.
Hochul's Democratic primary challenger, Antonio Delgado, named India Walton of Buffalo as his running mate. Republican candidate Bruce Blakeman is still vetting possible partners. In Albany, I'm Jimmy Vielkind for the New York Public News Network.
5 North Country airports will continue to get their federal funding despite threats from the Trump administration. Senator Chuck Schumer said he's secured an increase in funding for the Essential Air Service program, which pays for airline service at the North Country's rural airports in Watertown, Ogdensburg, Plattsburgh, Saranac Lake, and Messina. Last year, President Donald Trump said he wanted to cut the program's funding in half. The funds were passed in the recent $1.2 trillion spending package that ended a brief government shutdown. A new statue was unveiled in Lake Placid last weekend to honor the coach of the 1980 Olympic hockey team. Herb Brooks led the team to its historic win against the Soviets in a game now known as the Miracle on Ice. They went on to win gold at those Olympics, solidifying the team's place in sports history. Emily Russell was at the statue unveiling Saturday night and has our story.
The event in Lake Placid started really the only way it could. 2 TV screens replayed the last few seconds of the 1980 Miracle on Ice hockey game, when the American underdogs beat the Soviets.
Do we ever get sick of seeing that footage? It's unbelievable. Hello, everybody. I'm John Morgan. I'm your host tonight.
Morgan is a sports broadcaster from the Adirondacks. More than 150 people came out to honor the late Herb Brooks, including some in a kind of costume.
So all of a sudden, we got a few of us here dressed up in our Herb Brooks tan jackets. Jim McKenna over there. We got 3 or 4 of us.
Before he was known for his long coaching career, sometimes sporting a tan jacket, Brooks was known as a great hockey player who worked past a painful setback. He was cut from the 1960 Olympic hockey team just a week before the games began. That team went on to win gold. Brooks made the 64 and 68 Olympic teams, though never medaled. At the event in Lake Placid, Jack O'Callahan shared insight into Brooks as a man and as a coach. O'Callahan was a top defenseman on the 1980 Olympic team. He said Brooks was bound and determined to get the very best from his players, pushing them to their limits.
We practice hard all the time, and the bar was always raised. He never had a bar like, okay, do this and you're good. No, you'd get close to it, and he'd raise the damn bar.
Brooks was tough, said O'Callaghan, and that toughness paid off. The team came from behind in the semifinals to beat the Soviets 4-3. Their work wasn't over, though. As O'Callaghan reminded the crowd, the team was behind again going into the final period of the gold medal game against Finland.
And you know what? We sat in that locker room, and in that last 20 minutes, we didn't need him. His job was done. He had spent 9 months prepping us for this 20 minutes. And then you know what he did, honestly? He didn't come in the locker room. He cut the cord, and he's like, they got this.
And they did. The team came from behind again, scoring 3 goals in those last 20 minutes. The arena where those historic hockey games were won was renamed after Herb Brooks in 2005. Brooks had died a year and a half earlier in a car crash. He was 66 years old. After a few more speeches and tributes to Brooks, it was time to unveil the statue.
So I'd like to get Herb's grandchildren to come up here. Olivia, Joe, Tommy.
The statue is 6 feet tall. Brooks has his hands in the air, his mouth open, celebrating the moment his team won gold. Stanley Rumbaugh donated the $90,000 needed for the statue. He has a home in the Adirondacks and attends the annual Miracle on Ice hockey camp in Lake Placid. Rumbaugh said the tribute to Brooks was a no-brainer.
I could afford to do it. It's a tax write-off, so that helps, right? And why not? When you think about it, this statue should have been erected decades ago.
2 other versions of the same statue stand outside hockey rinks in Minnesota, where Brooks lived and coached for much of his career. His son, Dan Brooks, was at the unveiling in Lake Placid. He said while the statue was an honor for the entire Brooks family, his father wouldn't have needed it.
It wasn't about statues, it wasn't about medals, it wasn't about money, it wasn't about trophies, it was peace of mind, knowing you did your absolute best and to be able to be comfortable with that.
Shortly after his father's death, Dan and his sister Kelly Brooks Paradise helped start the Herb Brooks Foundation. It donates to local hockey leagues with the aim of expanding access for younger players. The statue unveiling in Lake Placid happened the same weekend as one of the Can-Am youth hockey tournaments in the village, which Paradise said was fitting for her father's legacy.
He always wanted to give the game back to the kids. So for his statue there and these kids coming by and seeing him and knowing what he did and hard work paid off, I think it's a good lesson for these kids, and I think that's meaningful.
As the event wrapped up, young players in their hockey jerseys with their hockey parents started filing in. Once those parents realized a member of the 1980 team was in the crowd, they lined their kids up for autographs and photos. Some of the kids didn't know at first who Jack O'Callaghan was, but they quickly got out their pucks and other things for him to sign, which O'Callaghan did very happily.
Nice jersey. Where do you want it? Because I have a blue pen. How about on the white? All right.
Now that the statue of Herb Brooks is in place, fans and financial supporters are shifting their attention to a bigger, far more expensive statue. The monument to the miracle would depict all 20 players as they celebrated their gold medal in 1980. That statue is expected to cost more than $5 million. The goal is to unveil it in Lake Placid at the 50th anniversary of the Miracle on Ice 4 years from now. Emily Russell, North Country Public Radio, Lake Placid.
You can see pictures of the statue and the Herb Brooks family and much more on our website, ncpr.org. We have more news there all the time, of course. Remember, you can always listen to Story of the Day whenever you want or binge a bunch in a row. Subscribe where you get podcasts or just put the NCPR app on your phone and listen to them all there. Music today by the Saranac Project of Saranac Lake and Danny Thomas of Canton. I'm David Summerstein, North Country Public Radio.